Greetings and salutations. Grace unto you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. This is Wesley Webb, pastor of the Grace Baptist Church in Greater Downtown Metropolitan McBee, South Carolina, and welcome to the Higher Grounds podcast and today's morning minute meditation. So I was recently in a meeting and was privileged to hear my friend, Brother Scott Dodson, pastor of Little Ivy Baptist Church just above Asheville. He occasionally gives us morning minute meditations. Some of y'all know Brother Dodson. I was privileged to hear the man preach, and he brought out a great truth that I want to share. Of course, during the course of the message that he preached, he brought out several great truths and important truths. If you want to hear the whole message, you should have him come preach for you. This one particular point piqued my interest. In Joshua chapter number 6, 7, and 8, you'll remember these stories as I kind of go through and hit the high spots to get to our point. Joshua chapter 6, you remember Joshua leads Israel against Jericho. The walls fell flat, and in this great victory, God had given them specific instruction regarding the spoils of war, and the instruction was very clear. In Joshua chapter number 16, or rather chapter 6, verse 18 and verse 19, chapter 6, verse 18 and 19, he said, "And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed when you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. But all the silver and gold, vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come unto the treasury of the Lord." So it was very clear, don't be taken of the spoils. There's a few things that are set aside for God's house. Otherwise, leave the stuff alone. If you remember then in chapter number 7, Aiken had taken the spoils of Jericho for himself and brought some of them back. That goodly Babylonianish garment, 200 shekels of silver, a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, and he had hidden those in his tent. Therefore, Israel was brought under the curse of God. Subsequently, Aiken was stoned along with his sons, his daughters, and all that he had. You remember the story. Then in chapter number 8, God gave Ai to Israel. This time, however, God's instruction regarding the spoils was different. In Joshua chapter 8, verses 1 and 2, the Bible said, "And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise, go up to Ai. See, I have given unto thy hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. And thou shalt do to Ai unto her and to her king, as thou didst unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof, and the cattle thereof, shall ye take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay thee an ambush for the city behind it," and so on. So, what's the lesson for us to learn here? If Aiken had just waited, if he'd have just waited one more battle, if he'd have just waited one more chapter, if he'd have just waited a little longer on God's direction, if he'd have just waited. Not waiting literally cost him everything. God help us to be willing to trust God and wait on Him. That's the very essence of what faith is. To be willing to wait on Him and trust Him in the meantime. God help us to be willing to wait on God and to trust Him for His direction and His timing. Because it may be just one more battle away. It may be just around the corner. It may be the very next chapter of our lives. God help us to wait on the will of God. Well, that's all for today's morning minute meditation. Y'all have a great day, and remember, it is what it is.